Hey everybody, welcome to the post-movie. You know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get a
spit screen?
One of those screens, yes, so that it will reduce the p and the t. Yes. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And we are here again
in the bunker
to talk about home videos.
Yes.
Not just the latest films.
Do they still call them home videos, Steve?
This is the home video market.
Is that it?
Home video marketplace. What else? What else would you call them? Videos.
We're going to talk about Laserdisc today.
That's home video.
I don't know. It sounds old.
Did you ever have a Laserdisc player?
No. I used to, when I first moved to Cape Cod, I stayed in a house where the guy had one.
Oh yeah,
but he had like five Laserdiscs. So I know Catch-22 by heart. Because he didn't have cable. It was like the only thing on TV. He'd throw Catch-22 in just to keep you company in this old house on Cape Cod.
Yeah,
and it's not a good movie.
Yeah,
but
I used to so want a Laserdisc player. That was the one thing that I wanted so badly. And this was in the early '90s, and I was working in film, and I was like, is sort of like the course of my life. I mean, I make enough money, but I don't go crazy with buying stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I mean, I buy things that I need. Like we need podcasting equipment and good microphones and food and stuff like that.
What was the last DVD? What was the last DVD you actually paid for?
I did recently. What was it? Oh God.
I mean, that we can talk about in public.
Paid for. Does that count renting?
No.
Because I just rented Robert Bresson's Mouche.
Was it what?
Terrific film.
Is it about
1967?
Where do you even rent? Where do you rent DVDs these days?
The Movie Works, right across the street.
Really?
Yeah. They got a whole Criterion section. Also, there's oh God, the place over in Jamaica Plain.
I'm not going to Jamaica Plain to rent a movie. I wouldn't go to Jamaica Plain,
Hollywood
period.
Video, the Underground Video. Oh God, no.
There used to be a place in North Quincy that
Video Underground in Jamaica Plain.
All right, the place in North Quincy, the place you walk in and there was a room about the size of your kitchen.
Yeah.
And it had like 5 shelves worth of DVDs. But then you went through the curtain in the back and it was acres of porn. Just acres. It was like there was a definite front. I never saw anyone rent a legitimate movie from that place. They went out of business, so I don't know why. I gave them a lot of money.
I bought Kick-Ass.
See?
I bought Bullet, The Towering Inferno.
But like on sale, right?
Yeah, they were on sale.
Last one I bought was Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
What would possess you?
A mad burning passion for Angela Lansbury? No. Animation. It was just it's an animation from my youth, and it was $5.99 at Best Buy. And I was like, "Ooh, I should have this."
I remember my parents taking me to see that when I was a kid.
And you know what? Not aged well at all.
No,
no, it's pretty bad.
It was pre Mary Poppins, wasn't it?
I think
Disney,
it was post Mary Poppins.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks is Disney, right?
Yeah, I think it was after Mary Poppins.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the mix of live action and animation, but it just hasn't aged well. So,
like this Alan Funt flick we're going to talk about. Holy shit!
What possessed you to ask for a review copy of What Do You Say to a Naked Lady? On a personal level.
The naked lady.
The naked lady part, right?
Yeah, well, I liked Candid Camera when I was a kid.
You want to explain to the younger viewers out there what Candid Camera was?
It was a weekly hidden camera TV show, basically a precursor to all things punked and pranked and all that stuff. And I don't know that Alan Funt was the first guy to do it, but he was certainly the first one to popularize it.
Yeah.
Him and his mini cameras and
well, it's just
it wasn't so much like a hidden camera as that he would do frank interviews with kids. And the responses were just, really funny.
Well, plus, this was back, this movie came out in 1970. So we're talking about, they didn't have like mini cameras or, now you can put a camera in a button like James Bond could way back when. But these were like full-size movie cameras hidden behind walls and
in plants.
Yeah,
in a briefcase.
And he'd always be like, "Hey, you see that? See that picture frame? That's the camera." So anyway, in this Naked, this was the first movie. The TV show was so popular they made a movie, and since it was a movie, he could use sex.
Was it the other way around?
What?
Candid Camera, wasn't it the movie that he did first? And it was
no, because remember, there's people in the movie who always say, "You can't put this on TV." He's like, "No,
Okay.
no, this is a movie."
Yeah.
So they have, the first skit is a naked lady getting out of an elevator.
Why do I think that? Was this on like the same night as the Ed Sullivan Show? I mean, because I kind of lump it in with like Laugh-In.
Right.
Remember Laugh-In?
Right. Oh, yeah.
And the Ed Sullivan Show. And this, like it was like a weekend thing. Like
They used
Sunday.
to have variety shows all the time. Or, I don't know if it was the same night.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember watching Candid Camera on TV that much.
No?
No. But,
I
there's
look
that
forward to
gap
that.
between us. So,
I think it was a Friday or Saturday night thing. I could be wrong.
but
Well, Batman I think was Tuesday, and then the Brady Bunch Partridge Family was Friday.
even today, everyone does it. Now that there's TV, you do plan your week around TV shows. Especially because when we were kids, you only got like until 8:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could watch that Batman and then go to bed.
Nobody does that. I couldn't tell you when any shows are on. I mean, I think
No.
the last time I knew that a TV show was on was The Office was on Thursday nights.
Simpsons are on Sunday.
And that's as good as I can. Saturday Night Live is on
Saturday.
Yeah.
We're guessing. So, what do you say to a naked lady? Is just a series of skits where Alan Funt either tries to get people to talk about sex or puts a naked lady hitchhiking down the street and sees who will pick her up. How will they react?
It's basically Candid Camera oriented
Boobs.
towards sex.
Yeah. But I'm wondering, this is 42 years old now. I'm wondering if they thought it was some kind of big social commentary or if it was just for giggles.
It seems to have some kind of self-importance.
Yeah,
like
when
that
he interviews people who are watching screenings of the movie, and it's a setup.
to be like
it's
a
really
little
angry
meta.
old ladies.
Yeah.
There's a penis.
Yeah.
They don't need to see that. But now watching it 40 years later, I think it's more of a commentary about what was going on back then than, in retrospect, than anything current.
It's a series of setups, and then it's put together with these songs.
Oh,
that
my God.
comment on what's happening on
in
screen.
the worst way.
And it's intended to be so bad. Oh my God, this is just the most syrupy of early 70s.
Is it on the cover who did the music? Because
Steve Carmen.
But it's like you said, it's commentating directly on what's happening. So you get songs like "I'm walking down the street with a naked lady," and there's a phone booth with a naked. It's the crappiest music.
What was the one where the guys were asked to hold the ladder while the lady was standing?
Yeah,
was on top of the ladder with a
getting
skirt.
a kite out of the
right.
tree.
And it was about, to each his own, how he responds. And, so it's like of the 20 guys that are holding the ladder, some guys are looking straight up, some guys are loving it, other guys are looking right down at the ground and, keeping their distance.
And then one gentleman goes up the ladder and gets the kite for her.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, you're my hero."
What do you think he was trying to do here? I mean, he's just trying to be confrontational.
I think it was
edgy.
maybe back then it was edgy, or also at the same time where this is also the time period where they would have like health and outdoor movies, but it would be like nude volleyball players.
Mm-hmm.
It was any excuse to show boobs on the screen. It hadn't really made the transition to the 70s films where nudity was part of the story or whatever. It was just a titillation.
Straight up nakedness. I mean, early on in the film, there's they do a setup where it's in an office building, and a guy, typically one guy by himself, is waiting for an elevator when the naked woman walks out of the elevator and asks for help finding an office.
Yeah.
And it's all about how the guy reacts to this naked woman, and it's almost it's just uncomfortable. It's to watch. It's squirming humor. It's.
Well, I felt very relaxed and comfortable, but that's me. I love the part where he instructs the women how to hold the purse in front of their pubic area so that it still gets in theaters. Although they do show a penis for a long time in this movie.
Then there was the setup where they're going to put Michelangelo on display.
Who's David?
Michelangelo's David, yes.
Yeah, not Michelangelo.
With or without fig leaf.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Just
bad.
It's not I can't even rate it as far as being a good movie or not, but I got a kick out of seeing it. Plus, remembering, as a kid seeing it in the drive-in.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, well, it's boobs.
Yeah.
I was 11. Well, I was 11, so anytime you saw a boob, you were just fascinated.
I wonder if this is its first ever video release.
I'm surprised it's not on Blu-ray. Why isn't Criterion
why isn't
doing
it on,
this? With
def.
a booklet from 10 critics talking about Funt's impact on the world.
This was critically important stuff.
No,
a film by Alan Funt. I wonder what else he's done.
Nothing.
All right.
No, he's done a few serious films, serious art films.
I'm gonna so that's Alan Funt's What Do You Say to a Naked Lady? That's from the MGM limited edition.
Yeah, you
collection.
can buy this on demand.
Yeah.
And demand it.
Yeah, so they sent some other ones I'm eager to watch, and we'll talk about on next episode or episode after that. I got A Small Town in Texas with Timothy Bottoms and Susan George.
Cool.
I'm very much looking forward to that because of Susan George. Something Wild. I think it's from 1960. But what's amazing
Carol
to me
Baker
about
or
this...
Barker? Baker, right?
Baker. It's not an original version of the Jonathan Demme Something Wild.
Right.
Totally. But it has an original score by Aaron Copland. So
wow.
I'm eager to hear that. Yeah. And Pussycat, Pussycat, I Love You with Ian McShane from 1971.
It's funny. I asked
been
for
around.
that one too, and it's mainly because of Ian McShane because he was from Deadwood. That's how I knew him, was from Deadwood. But he had this career as like a young, sexy, swinging British rom-com guy.
It's new to me.
So they're not. The first one I saw wasn't very good, but we'll see.
The other two I got was Hannibal Brooks with Oliver Reed and Michael J. Pollard, and looking forward to seeing that. And you watched this last night, Busting.
Yes, Elliot Gould. That I always wanted that mustache.
Elliot Gould and Robert Blake.
Yeah, we'll see.
It got me. I looked up Robert Blake online to see what was going on with that whole situation. And,
and?
Well, there's a 1-hour interview with him from, I guess, last month on Travis Smiley, where it's his first public appearance, I guess, after he was acquitted for murder. He was acquitted for murder, but the civil trial ended up going way not in his favor, something to the tune of like $30 million. So he's living in a dinky apartment in Hollywood, and he says that his neighbor next door introduced him to Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff, and that there's a certain popularity and interest for a lot of the stuff that he's done, and so he's
Could there be a Beretta movie? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's got to get back into making some money, so he can get paid. He can,
you remember
pay these things off. He's
his movie Electric
trouble.
Glide in Blue?
Yes,
that was an awesome movie.
The director said it was one of the greatest tragedies of his filmmaking career because the movie was taken away from him and re-edited. And anyway, getting back to Busting, what did you think?
I liked it a lot. It was a 75. 1975. They're
was it?
Elliot Gould and Robert Blake are Vice Squad cops in L.A. making bust on hookers, and they bust a massage parlor that's owned by the mob, and the mob is tied in with the cops, and so they have to fight to get the bad cops out. And
so they're
bust
going there
the
to
big
get
mobster.
more than a massage.
Yeah. But the main thing, it's not a very original story or anything. The main thing is watching Elliot Gould and Robert Blake do their thing.
I imagine it's the whole Southern California 70s cop look.
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's that yeah, it's pretty, and the chase scenes are pretty tame and the shootouts and stuff. But there's good chemistry between the two of them. And I just love Elliot Gould when he was just like that moppy headed Fu Manchu wearing bubblegum chomping guy. It's like watching Trapper John from MASH. After he got out of the Army, he became a Vice Squad cop in L.A. Same kind of character. So what's not to like?
Yeah,
it was fun.
You got one, John?
Yes. This is my favorite DVD in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
What could I would have thought that a number of things you'd watched in the past month or so were your favorites in a long time.
This one's called Elvis Found Alive. And
Elvis what?
Elvis Found Alive.
Right.
And it's by a director called Joel Gilbert. And basically they find Elvis as part of the witness protection program living in L.A., and they go and interview him. But that's only kind of like a framework for the first half of the movie, which is kind of a fascinating documentary about Elvis. Lots of clips of him as a young performer, going in the Army, all this stuff, but narrated or commented on by this present-day Elvis, who brings a lot of attitude to what you see. But then it spirals into the weird when they talk about what he's doing now after he faked his death, And one of the facts, in quotes, that I learned was Elvis was an avatar. He was one of the...
Nice.
He was making his comeback in movies, and he was one of the soldiers in Avatar. It's one of the few things, and then also he's a Republican, and if Obama is kicked out of office, he'll make his comeback public. He's still recording music. I actually was shipped the soundtrack to this movie, which is a bunch of not Elvis songs, but songs sung in the Elvis style, and then a new song. It's just so twisted and weird. It was just, I love the attitude. They never show you the guy's face until, and then they take one picture.
So Elvis would be what, like in his late 70s?
80s, yeah.
He'd be 80s?
Yeah.
No.
He'd be in his 80s by now, yeah.
Figure.
He's old.
Okay. 42 in 77, 72 in 2007, so.
77, 80, whatever.
Yeah.
He's still alive, though. That's what counts.
Yeah.
And I just like the attitude that they don't, they never wink or smile at the audience. This is all true. And, it was just a lot of fun. And when I saw the cover, it's a picture of an old Elvis on the cover. I was like, I don't want to watch this. This is going to be stupid because I am an Elvis fan, not a diehard fan. I'm more of an Elvis movie fan than an Elvis music fan.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, and they go in great details about how much he hated the movies he was making and how they ruined his career. And they talk a lot about Colonel Tom Parker. If you're an Elvis fan or an aficionado, maybe none of this is going to be new to you. But the attitude that this new Elvis or the old Elvis brings to the young Elvis is fun. It's a lot of fun. So I had a blast.
Cool. Your most favorite movie in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
maybe because I wasn't, I didn't even want to watch it, and I was just thoroughly entertained. Lots of good clips, because a lot of these music DVDs I get are like, have nothing to do. They have to put on the back, this has nothing to do with, like I watched one about Pearl Jam, and on the back it has to say, Pearl Jam has nothing to do with this video, and it's just a bunch of rock and roll journalists you've never heard of sitting in rooms talking about how great Pearl Jam is. So it's like interviews of these writers, not about the band. Yeah. This, at least they had the balls to put Elvis in, So it was kind of, and all the clips were real and authentic, and I liked the commentary. So yeah, I had a blast.
Did you see that Cameron Crowe documentary, Pearl Jam 20?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just not a Pearl Jam fan.
Me neither.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it.
I think Eddie Vedder's got a great voice.
I haven't tried, and I think I bought Vitology and maybe one of their other albums. I don't know. Tried.
No, it's just that I think it's an age thing, and I just think it's I've been there, done that. It's nothing really.
He's on Portlandia.
Have you watched Portlandia?
Oh yeah. I am up to date.
Such a funny funny show. So anyway, that would be my recommendation. Elvis
it's the
Found
Eddie
Alive.
Vedder tattoo that leads to a quick breakup. John, can you throw me that?
What?
The Blu-ray sitting right up on top there. John Black presents To Kill a Mockingbird. Man, how much can you just like really appreciate a movie? Lots of ways.
Yes.
I watched it
Twice. Kind of have to.
No, I watched it the other day. I at the risk of sounding like I don't know,
Pratt.
I interviewed John Badham last week.
Mm-hmm.
The really really long, good interview over the phone. We talked for about an hour about Dracula, Saturday Night Fever, some other stuff, but mostly Dracula because it was for the Diabolique radio show, my other podcast, and we're gonna have that interview. But before getting into all the other film stuff about what he'd done, we'd talked about. I had just received To Kill a Mockingbird, and his sister plays Scout.
Really?
Mary Badham. And so I had said that, there's a feature on this that Scout remembers where, your sister, talks about working with Gregory Peck. And so we were talking about that and what he was doing while, he was actually in college while she was making the film. And he said he felt so stuck because here she is out in L.A. making like $500 a week and just living in that whole surreal world, whereas he had the drudgery of having to study and prepare and I said, do you resent her in any way for that? And he said, no,
not now.
Yeah, but
did she ever make any other movies?
I don't know. I think she did some TV and stuff afterward.
Yeah,
but she was just. This was the first thing that she'd ever done, and she was just so well cast. Mm-hmm. In fact, when they were looking for a place to shoot, they went down to Alabama, and that's where they did their casting. And I forget the name of the actor that plays her older brother in the film by a couple of years, but they actually lived on the same street. So Mary Badham and this other older boy literally were like, just blocks from each other, from the same town in Alabama, and they both got the part in the film, and the chemistry is, it's film history.
Yeah,
she got an Academy Award nomination for her performance, and it's just one of the most. It's enthralling. It really is. I recall the first time I'd seen it, which was not in the theater. It was on TV, and I happened to be switching channels, and I just became so like taken by the acting, and I was, of course, then I was like kicking myself, like how was I not aware of this before?
Right.
So this, I hadn't seen it, until like maybe 10 years ago. But so Universal has restored it, and they have a documentary on the disc about the restoration and Universal's 100th anniversary and the restoration of some of their other films, in particular Dracula, which I guess sometime later this year we'll be able to see Dracula for the first time without any hiss. That had been a constant in the 1931 version. But this Blu-ray that they've put out is as good as it gets as far as being really completist about a great film, and lots of extra stuff on it, and it looks terrific. The only bad thing I can say about it is that when you have a lot of extras and documentary stuff, the information tends to get repeated.
Right.
The other thing I didn't like about it was there's a documentary on it that is really good. It's called Fearful Symmetry, but it's not in high def. The video isn't as quality as the rest of the stuff that's on the disc. But other than that, I think it's an important release for Universal. Obviously, it comes out.
Yeah, it's a prestige.
I'll probably have this podcast published after the 31st, but it comes out on the 31st. Yes, it's a prestige release. It's terrific.
Cool.
Did you get the chance to watching it yet?
No,
They've got it.
No, I haven't. It's not I watch a lot of DVDs on my computer and on my portable player where I don't really care about, sitting down and paying attention. That's when I want to clear the decks for a couple hours and just sit and watch it. So I haven't made the time yet, but I've seen it before. It's great. And have you ever read the book?
No, but
Great
this
book.
is something that is like, it just makes you want to, you appreciate the language of the film.
Yeah.
And her book. And in the documentary, it was a funny quote from Harper Lee's father where he said, "I can't believe my tomboy girl wrote a book that got an award."
And it's I appreciate movies that inspire you to read the book. It's not like you're going to go to the library and look for What Do You Say to a Naked Lady, the book, the pop-up, the scratch and sniff book. Anyway, I got one.
Go for it.
It's called The Moment of Truth. It's a Criterion collection, and I think it was 1965, directed by Francesco Rosi, and it's about bullfighting. And I know nothing about bullfighting, but now I feel I do. It's kind of shot in a semi-documentary way. The lead actor, Miguel Romero, is an actual bullfighter, not an actor. Great shots of the bullfighting. It's all about some guy who's in a little farm in the country. He moves to the city, can't find work. He sees a poster of a bullfighter, finds out they make a lot of money. He decides to become a bullfighter, gets an agent, gets a trainer. It's kind of like Rocky, and it's got the same sort of heroic feel to it up to a point. But just the way it takes you inside the world of bullfighting, to me, was fascinating. This is not a movie for the squeamish. Those were not computer-generated bulls that are slaughtered on the screen. There's a lot of bull death, lots of blood. But I really got a kick out of it. I really enjoyed it a lot, so I would recommend that, even if you're a little squeamish about, animals being killed in front of you.
So animals obviously were harmed in the making of this film.
Yeah, they were slaughtered. But I recommend it. It's really fascinating stuff. Gojira. It is Gojira.
Godzilla is
Gojira.
Gojira. And there are some fans out there that are a little
Talking
peeved.
about Brett?
I'm talking about Brett Michelle and other fans of Godzilla that are a little peeved that Criterion didn't name their new Godzilla disc Gojira. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a terrific disc. Okay. Getting right to the issue at hand. A lot of fans are bothered by the fact that the artwork on the disc is from, apparently, Millennium Godzilla from 2000. It's not the classic, original Godzilla from 1954.
Right.
Criterion responded to the fans saying that this is an artist's interpretation of Godzilla. It's interpretive artwork. It's the artist. But apparently the artist was using, the image in his head or where from wherever of, Millennium 2000 Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like the fact that Criterion went to great expense to restore and present Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, the 1956 Raymond Burr American version of the film.
Right.
Instead of just subtitling the film and releasing it in America, they filmed new scenes for it and integrated that footage with the existing footage from Godzilla and made Godzilla the King of the Monsters, which made a boatload of money. And they found a copy of that. They restored both films,
right,
at great expense. And I was just kind of taken like, man, why are people just? It's seemingly ungrateful. Is this just the nature of cinephiles to be just
pricks?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think this is a terrific disc. I was very excited to watch it and learn about it, and the commentaries on the disc are terrific and very detailed. And there's also a photo essay on the boat that is featured at the beginning of Gojira, the one that is caught in the H-bomb blast, where the ash from the H-bomb blast kills everybody on the boat slowly, which is sort of the basis for the story of Godzilla as he's sort of a mutation, something as a result of the H-bomb nuclear testing that was going off, near Japan. I couldn't recommend this disc any more highly, but I think, the Godzilla fans are sort of thinking that they're demanding change. That the art has to change. But if you ignore the art, which I think is cool, when you open up the disc, there's like a pop-up, like Godzilla's head rises out from the middle of the, like a pop-up book. And there's an essay on the film from Jay Huberman, whose book Army of Phantoms, which is about filmmaking in Hollywood and during the Cold War. This Godzilla, being a just dead-on example of a film that's a result of the nuclear testing and all this hysteria in the 1950s. It's if you ignore the packaging of the disc, I guess what's actually on the disc is terrific. The film looks beautiful. Like, I don't know all about Godzilla, but I sure did love this.
Right.
And Godzilla, the King of the Monsters, sure was looked terrific. And the way they've restored it, I mean, they pieced it together from different elements. It looks really about as good as it can get. The negative for the film no longer exists.
Right.
But they've got it looking Criterion nice. And there's a part of me that's like,
fanboys.
I mean, do they just get that, or do they just have to piss all over everything?
Fanboys need to relax. It happens a lot of cultish or, fanboy faves where, if it's not perfect to their standards, they've got to latch onto something to complain about.
And it becomes like this personal ego battle thing. Like, I mean, is every fanboy like the secretly self-ordained king of the fanboys? And they just have to just... Yeah, becomes this like ego battle. Anyway, it's a terrific disc.
Good.
And maybe one would do better to just like buy the disc and
hit a fanboy
enjoy it as opposed to listening to all the this should be this or this should be that. There's always somebody out there that's going to tell even the most ardent academics how to do their job.
Well, I think that, just in a broader sense, I think that's one of my problems with a lot of criticism is they talk about what it's not instead of what it is,
What it should have been.
Right, what it should have been.
How it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, I would look forward to borrowing that from you.
I've loaned it to Brett.
That's okay. So it's going to come back all sticky.
It's currently in...
He's redrawing the Godzilla picture now to make it perfect.
Yeah, we're going to go into detail on the discs for an episode of the Diabolique radio show, which if you go online right now and go to horrorunlimited.com, you can listen to and watch Brett, Michelle, and my commentary discussion of Kaneto Shindo's 1968 film Kuroneko.
You want people to stop listening to us and go listen to you someplace else?
No, don't stop listening to us. After this is over, head on over
if you're
to
still awake,
horrorunlimited.com. And you'll see my real full name listed.
Yes.
Which is
Don't tell them. Make them go and find out.
It's true.
It's like it's an Easter egg.
I say it to people and they're like, come on. It's like, it's my real name.
Well, it's true. All right. Another one?
Yeah, I watched, I dig this one. This is a documentary called Thunder Soul. And it's about this high school in Texas by the name of Kashmir. And they became very well known for their big band, which was sort of transformed into this soul funk outfit that was just amazingly good. And it's all because of this guy, Professor Johnson, or Prof. Those who studied under him just called him Prof. And they were tight and they were insanely good. And when you listen to their music, it's like you can't believe that this is like 14, 15, 16-year-old high school students just going nuts. And they traveled to Japan, to Europe, played shows. They won the, I think, a rather important high school big band competition in the early 70s that really put them on the map. And this is about how this one teacher took this band and made it such a fine example of achievement that the whole school benefited. it's very inspiring, and it's also fun in the sense that, the direction of the documentary is that they're going to get back together. All these band members are going to get back together again. So 20 of them, I guess, who are all still alive. I don't recall them saying that any of them had passed, but they're in their late 40s, early 50s now, mid 50s.
Pretty much near death.
Yeah. And they get back, they haven't picked up instruments since, like, some of them since 1974. And so they get back to get together for a reunion show that, so they can honor Prof and play a couple of songs, and really, really just jam, and they do, and it's emotional, and the talent is quite amazing. It's good. It's called Thunder Soul.
Does it really say Jamie Foxx presents on the cover?
It does, yeah. For a real good take on what the director did for this film, go check out, I would encourage our listeners to go to kcrw.com and check out Elvis Mitchell's The Treatment. And he did an interview 3 or 4 months ago, I guess, with Mark Landsman. And he talks about the genesis of the documentary and just the story behind it. And that inspired me to want to see it.
Cool. I'm going to stick with the documentary tangent. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
I saw this movie called Queen of the Sun. What are the bees telling us? The last movie I ever thought I would want to watch.
What are the bees telling us?
Bees.
What?
They're telling us the world's in chaos.
Is this like The Birds?
No. It's a documentary about how
the
bees...
birds, the fact that, like, if the bees decide to turn on us, there's absolutely nothing we can do because they can never be eradicated.
They're breeding a giant bee, one giant bee. No, this is... you remember stories in the news maybe 5 years ago, bees are disappearing?
No,
neither did I until I saw this documentary. So bees have been disappearing. Without bees, no pollination. Without pollination, no food. And what's killing the bees? And so there's a lot of bee footage, more than I'd ever thought I'd want. Enough.
A lot of B-roll.
Yeah.
Shut up, Steve.
Oh man, that's a good one. There's enough bee shots in here that you almost want to, like, slap. You feel like they're crawling on you because it really gets close. But it's more about these people who, some of them are hippies that are, making bees safe for the world. Some of them are rooftop beekeepers in England. I never thought in my life I would ever witness on screen the artificial insemination of a queen bee. But it's here in this movie. It's fucking gross. It's fucking gross. How they get the sperm out of the poor bee is just disgusting. And then they have to, put it where it's supposed to go. And that's pretty disgusting too.
What do they call the study of insects? What are these people?
Insectoids?
Who are these people anyway?
I don't know. But again, a subject I don't like nature. So I wasn't really into seeing this. But it was fascinating. Beautifully shot.
Is this something you think when you walk through the park, or is it just as you're watching a film?
It's something I think of every day. I just don't like nature. I'm a concrete boy. You pave paradise.
That's nature.
You pave paradise,
it's your nature.
And it's perfect. So anyway, it's this documentary about beekeepers, and they're a pretty odd bunch of people, but it was beautifully photographed. It was just a treat. So it won't stop me from killing bees.
They are an odd bunch of people.
They are. Oh, these people. It's not just like they're not odd because of what they do so much as they're just odd.
Are they still kind of burning from the image of the swarm and all the harm that Irwin Allen has done to their profession?
No, Irwin Allen was never mentioned in this.
Okay.
Or any of those bee movies. Attack of the Bee Girls, any of those were not mentioned. Did you ever see Attack of the Bee Girls?
No.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome, like Roger Corman level crap about bee women who come to the planet and have to mate to keep their species going.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Talking about mating and keeping the species going, I got a new movie for you. Dirty Girl, starring Juno Temple, Mila Jovovich, William H. Macy. I liked this film. I mentioned it on our last video episode. It takes place in late 80s Oklahoma, and it's about this girl who she's hot, and she's raunchy and all, but she gets a bad rap for something she didn't do, and principal ends up putting her in a remedial class, home economics. And it's in home ec that she's paired with this rotund kid, awkward kid, who is gay, and his parents are denying it, trying to change it, and it just he has a very hateful relationship with his father. But so he and Juno Temple's character are asked to, as all the kids in the class were, they have to take a bag of flour and take care of that bag of flour like it's their baby. Mm-hmm. And so they're basically forced to be with each other. Both of these kids have very messed up family lives. And Juno Temple, basically, she just wants to find her dad. And I think the actor's name is Jeremy Dozier, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. His father is just so hateful and mean to him that he's just trying to escape. And they go on this road trip to California, him to escape, her to go find her dad. And it just... the movie becomes... Well, it's called Dirty Girl. And I wouldn't say that she really does anything in the movie that's dirty. It could it could just as well be called Dirty Boy. You know, they both have their serious, like, personal issues.
Right.
But it's such an awkward relationship, like two completely opposite people who go on a road trip and the adventure that ensues. Mm-hmm. Didn't get that quite a big release.
Did it make it to theaters?
But it was a fun film, actually. Yeah. It's good. It redeems itself in certain ways where you think it's just going to just be like this dull video rental, but it's not. It's actually quite a good film. It's surprising in its raunchiness, but not in the way that, it's like it's, sex or anything like that, but just, it's confrontational,
Raw?
Yeah.
Instead of raunchy?
Its use of language and the way the kids, challenge their parents. The guys don't come off looking really good in this movie. In fact, I remember thinking that wow, men are just scum in this movie. But both of the kids have a good relationship with their mother. Jeremy Dosier's mother is played by Mary Steenburgen, and Juno Temple's mother is surprisingly played by Mila Jovovich.
Yeah. How's she as a mom?
Goofy, airheaded, well-meaning, unfortunately influenced by her religious zealot boyfriend, played by William H. Macy. He's like the super nice, creepy Ned Flanders type of guy.
Yeah.
Just creepy.
If it's not a spoiler, can you tell us what happens to the flower? Does it survive?
Well, the flower in the film sort of works as like this surrealist element.
Really, a bag of flour being pretended that it's a child? That's surreal?
Well, because they draw a face on the flower. And they dress the flower up like it's a baby, and you're supposed to talk about its history, or and whatnot. You give it a diary. You write about it like it's done. Like their mom and dad, and this is the baby. But as the movie goes on, and certain things happen in the movie, the expressions on the flower change. It basically reacts to the different scenarios that are happening. So it's there's a fanciful surrealist through line with this.
Cool.
Bag of flour.
Me?
Yeah, what do you got?
B. Gotta H. Kai.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There we go.
The full title is B. Gotta H. Kai, Yamada's First Time. It's
I've heard before.
From Funimation.
Oh, right.
And it's it's a story about a girl named Yamada whose plan when she gets to high school is to sleep with 100 guys.
Oh, I've seen the trailer for this.
Yeah. And it's the strangest combination of really risque humor and a sweet love story about this. She picks a guy, you're going to be my first one.
Right.
You're going to take my cherry. And there's so many virgin jokes in this movie, in this series. But, and he's a virgin, she's a virgin. They don't know what they're doing, but she's determined that, he's going to be the first of 100 guys she's going to sleep with. Huh. And it's really a sweet romance about how they fall in love without ever really having sex.
Is this similar in some way, at least in style, to Sekire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you had said that this is like some of the best animated boobage ever.
That was Sekire, yeah.
This
is actually there's definitely a a voyeuristic quality to this anime. Which and the directors the people who make it seem to know when you're looking a little too intently at the cartoon, because they throw a joke at your face as you're watching it. There's an awareness throughout this series of what they're doing, and what they know they're titillating you, and then they're slapping you for being a bad boy.
Yeah.
And I like that, surprisingly. But it's a lot lot of fun. It's very well
for
drawn.
being a bad boy, or the fact that it exists on this
both, I guess.
anime.
Yeah. Very well drawn, very well acted. The stories, some of these series that go over 13 episodes, plots tend to regenerate, but this keeps it it moves along pretty well without repeating itself too much.
Do you watch this with the American dub, or do you go for the Japanese?
I'm a dub guy.
Yeah.
There's too much going on. I can't read titles and watch the cartoon.
But I know Funimation puts a lot of work into these releases, and the recordings are great. Some people are critical of them. I don't know why, but
Brett.
It's they're great. It's actually really good voiceover stuff.
Yeah.
The purist in me likes seeing the original Japanese dialogue with I don't mind reading the subtitles, but
if it's a live action film, I tend to go for subtitles, just because it doesn't look natural coming out of their mouth. Sure. With the cartoon, it doesn't matter. It doesn't look natural anyway. And the thing I like about it is, if you watch enough Funimation stuff, the voices become very familiar to you.
Yeah.
So you know that, that's the guy who played this character in the other thing. And so you get this kind of a familiarity to it that is fun. And it's like any actor, he was a lot different when he played the bad guy in the last thing I saw, and now he's the goofy kid and stuff like that. So I've always been a dub person rather than a subtitle.
You were talking about the OVAs. What exactly are OVAs, and do you watch these things?
Yes.
Is this part of what?
Original video asset?
And they do this for a re-release of a title?
No. OVAs are like, like when you were watching Columbo, and then there'd be the Columbo movie, like the special 2-hour movie.
Right.
Same kind of thing. So they've got a series going on, and then they have the movie of it, or a special spin-off of it, or they revisit the character for 4 episodes rather than do a whole series with it. So they're just original movie.
So are OVA these, like sometimes at the end of an anime episode, they have like a little 30-second parody animation?
Some do, yeah.
That's an OVA?
No. OVA is a separate title. Okay. A lot of those things are preview from next week, and some of them have a straightforward preview. Some of them have something that has seemingly nothing to do with the movie. It's some kind of twisted 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Some kind of it's all depending on the style and who's doing it.
I wonder how these things are broadcast in Japan. I wonder if they're prime time or how this works. Yeah. Do you know?
If you go to I go to Funimation.com, and they'll have simulcast of shows that are being broadcast in Japan. Because a lot of stuff we get here is 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So there are times you can actually tune in and watch the latest primetime Japanese. Because a lot of the stuff, like we got a chance to see Full Metal Alchemist on the
we didn't
screen.
talk about that. Yeah, John and I saw Full Metal Alchemist a week ago.
Yeah.
Over at the MFA. It's kind of astounding.
But they get big.
It's animation.
They get big screen releases all the time in Japan.
Although I wasn't really thrilled with the crowd that showed up, because they were fucking annoying. Oh my god! And especially the character, the people showing up in costume. I mean, it's neat and all, but it's just like
it was too rowdy in the beginning. But then someone yelled "shut up," and they did.
Yeah,
so.
That was the loudest yell for someone to say, telling someone to. Oh yeah. It's like there was like a con mentality, like some sort of animation convention mentality going on here.
Yeah.
Like one thinks that they know how to act in this circumstance, and it's just, oh my god!
It didn't bother me because it didn't last throughout the whole thing, and the movie just looked great on the big screen.
It did.
So I'm looking forward to doing Studio Ghibli. Brett, you'll know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, that's going to be happening
in February.
Shortly. Where are they going to do that?
MFA.
Oh, right.
And so they'll be showing Ponyo and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time and
oh God, what's the one with the house?
Howl's Moving Castle. All of
Princess.
There's 13 movies, I think, part of the series. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time at the MFA.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
too.
so that's the latest from Funimation. It comes out Tuesday. Yamada's first time.
I'll be watching that.
Yeah, it's good.
So I'll chime in on it next time. Looking forward to it. Man, I want to say, got Dead Poets Society on Blu-ray. And if you're a writer, this is actually quite an inspiring film. Although it does fall again into the whole, like, it's a lot of Robin Williams.
Yeah.
You know, but it's kind of a more subdued Robin Williams. And Peter Weir's a great filmmaker, and I like the atmosphere of the film. The message that they're trying to teach these prep school kids is, it's about inspiration and originality and not being afraid to express yourself with certain, with poetry, with word combinations, with, regardless of the fact that other people think you're crazy, you still go ahead and say, these are the words I'm writing. This is what I'm going to say. This is how I'm going to, it's inspiring that way. But I couldn't help but, I spend a lot of time around, Harvard, and I love it. At the same time, I resent it. So as I'm watching this film, and I also watched Love Story this week, which was filmed at Harvard and around Harvard. As I'm watching these films, I'm thinking, like, there's a part of me that, like, this really is playing on the angle that certain people just have an advantage over other people, or
Right.
going to be allotted a certain something over other people because of these schools. And I love what they're teaching, and and I like the atmosphere of the Dead Poets Society, the film. But there's this other part of me that was like, oh, I fucking hate it. I hate the fact that these kids are going to get the better stuff. They're going to be allotted jobs that even though other people are qualified for, they'll get them. It's like their one-way ticket to good life.
Yeah.
I kind of got to put that away, but from a writer's point of view, Dead Poets Society is, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I never liked it. Never was inspired by it. I thought they were all pompous pricks. And I remember seeing it in theaters and just going, ugh, I would not want to spend 2 seconds with those people. So I have no desire to go back and revisit
what
it.
it kind of is like, it's, you get to go into a world one doesn't normally get to go into. And that's kind of what's fascinating here.
Sitting in a cave reading poetry.
And I think,
yeah.
No, and I think that Robin Williams' character knows that. He knows.
What year was that movie? Did that movie come out?
I'm guessing 80, 88, 89.
I was trying to cast my mind back to what kind of an attitude I had when I saw it, because I remember really disliking it. So I was probably 29, 30, and just, I don't know, something about it bugged me.
Well, Peter Weir, he makes just beautiful looking films, and the soundtrack by Maurice Jarre is terrific. I mean, creatively, it's a great piece of filmmaking.
It made Carpe Diem a catchword.
Oh,
I
God,
hated that.
My soldier, my soldier. Something like that.
I'm glad you liked it, Steve. I won't be borrowing that one.
This is not your world.
No.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because if you're right, people think that is your world, and it's not.
Parents are so frightened and scared, and the kids just, living under their thumb or just.
Who are the boys? Who played the boys?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember their names.
It wasn't Ethan Hawke, but it was like that Ethan Hawke-like character. Right. Ethan Hawke was making Reality Bites, and then this guy was making.
Oh, it was Ethan Hawke.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And Robert Sean Leonard.
That's
very
it.
young.
Yeah, they went on to Crash and Burn in Swing Kids. So fuck them.
Oh,
we're so
man.
young and talented. We're going to do Swing Kids.
This is about loving prose and literature and
no, it's about people pretending to love prose and literature.
This isn't like some remedial class at a public school in L.A. and
I would like to see those boys.
You're trying to, like, gang pressure is the one thing that everybody's trying to avoid. This is the very opposite end of the spectrum.
Yo, you're not down with our John Milton? I would like to see those guys given a bag of flour and try to keep it alive.
These are like the future. This is these are the future decision makers. The one that they have all the fucking opportunity in the world, and
you know what these guys are? These are the future academics. They're gonna grow up and get tenure at an institution and piss on another generation.
Like when the film starts and the headmaster starts bragging about the fact that they have 81% of our students or some crap like that went to Ivy League schools, and you're not supposed to be original. You're just supposed to follow the rules, and this is what gets you into this and doing that. And
see, I went to UMass for a while, and I took a course in 18th century literature. So we read Jonathan Swift and John Donne, and I had a teacher who made that stuff come alive, but it wasn't it was just for the sheer joy of doing it, and plus I needed the credit.
You mean you didn't go outside and line up in front of the soccer ball and kick the thing around, or just wrestle with each other while spouting poetry?
No, I did that on my own time. I wrestle with myself and spout poetry. It sounds like poetry. It could be gibberish. Carpe diem,
this
Steve.
Is a profound film for some people at a certain time, but I imagine this didn't go over well with black audiences. You think?
No black person has ever seen this movie.
Yeah.
Find one. If you're black and listening to this program, and you saw Dead Poets Society,
it's a very inspiring film, though. I mean, it's really well written. Absolutely.
It's pompous. Is theater. It's cinema. This is cinema.
Oh,
like
God.
movies.
I think that they really tried to play up the humor aspect when they were advertising the film, because you remember how they were doing Marlon Brando doing Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And,
it's a Robin Williams comedy.
The Robin Williams thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
You're done with that. Are we good?
Oh, yeah.
Man, we were all home video.
I want to end on that note. Yes, we were. Although, wait, I have one thing we can lead out on.
Okay.
Remember Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans?
Yeah.
I hated that movie.
The way it just wrapped up in 1 minute.
Yeah. I just hated that movie when it came out. I watched it 2 days ago. I still think it's a bad movie, but Nicolas Cage is fascinating in that.
Yeah.
And it's just every once in a while, there's a movie where I think I see it in theaters and I'm like, oh, that movie sucked. And for some reason I watch it again. This is because I wanted to see New Orleans on screen.
Yeah.
And you watch it again, you're like, okay, I get it now. It's a pretty, it's Nicolas Cage playing Richard III in New Orleans in a bad Werner Herzog movie with singing iguanas. Now I get a better under.
It's found its way to your heart.
I guess that's it, yeah. So even though we may agree or disagree on movies, they will find its way. Although Dead Poets Society will never find its way into my spleen.
That and Brokeback Mountain.
I'll never see that movie.
Man, I'm looking forward to some of the stuff this week. I'm going to watch Annie Hall, Manhattan, Notorious, Suspicion, Alfred Hitchcock flick, and The Apartment, which I had somebody stole that DVD from me 10 years ago, but got it on Blu-ray now. So
all your movies are like Oscar-nominated classics you're looking forward to seeing.
What are you looking forward to seeing this week?
Nude Nuns with Big Guns,
right.
Dead Hooker in a Trunk, and the films of French filmmaker Jean Rollin.
John. Okay, yes, but we have something in common, and that is Zombie Apocalypse.
Yes.
And Two-Headed Shark Attack.
Stay tuned
on the next episode of the Post Movie Podcast video edition. I got to wrap this up. If you have anything to say, if you for any reason find that you want to send us an email, that can be done by sending an email to contact@post-movie.net. All of our episodes are online. We're at post-movie.net, and we're on Facebook, and we're on iTunes. If you can leave a review on iTunes, John will read them.
Yes, I have iTunes now,
and he'll be kind. He won't be. He won't be obscene.
I will reply.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll be kind.
Until next week, I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
So long, everybody.